I made a commitment to myself last week that I was going to come in here and I was going to show up weekly free wall, knowing that the right people are going to see this video and get the information. And that's why I'm here. My hair, I don't know what's going on with my hair. I'm probably going to mess with it a lot through this video because it just doesn't look right now. And you're just going to have to deal with it. So, full, real, raw. I've been in here raw, real with you for years now. And my goal for this group, I think it's important to kind of set that expectation. My purpose for this group is to just support you as moms. Support you as moms. Whether you're moms with businesses, whether you're moms with 1 kid, with 12 kids, with adopted kids, it doesn't matter to me. My goal for you and for this group is to just come in and share and help you in any way that I can. So if you ever have any questions and you ever want me to speak about a specific topic, please let me know. I am more than happy to speak on a specific topic. Sometimes that actually helps me to stay on topic when somebody else suggests that I talk about a specific topic. Just to let you know, if you're fairly new to the Facebook group, I am so glad that you're here. I would love if you said hi. But if you are fairly new to this Facebook group, there are general topics that I talk about. Motherhood, for one. Time management is a huge one that people come to me for. Focus and flow, also really big. Relationships and communication go hand in hand together with that one. Additionally, business, right? I am an entrepreneur. So there are a lot of things that I talk about here. There are a lot of things that I'm knowledgeable about, and I would love to just share topics with you. So if there are specific questions that you have, please let me know. Please ask. Always happy to answer them. In the meantime, I'm just going to continue to show up because I know somebody's going to get this message. Somebody's going to need the information that comes through, and I'm just going to trust the process. So here we are, a little bit later than I am usually on for my Facebook Lives, but we're going to have a conversation. So today, we're just going to go where it goes. So I was really struggling the last couple of days. I'm just going to be totally honest with you. The last week or so, really struggling with how I had handled a situation. And last night while I was laying in bed, I realized that I handled the situation less brilliantly than I wanted to. And it was kind of eating me alive because the person on the other side of this situation did not respond the way that I wanted them to. And it really irritated me because I had apologized and I had made amends. I had said, listen, I'm really sorry that I was not more explicit, more communicative about my expectations, and I'm being vague intentionally for the reference. And it was really kind of eating me up. I vented to some people because I needed to vent about it, and then it just kept festering. And it was festering, and I couldn't figure out why the heck it was festering. Well, it was festering because I wasn't actually looking at my true role in the situation. And typically speaking, and I don't want this to sound arrogant in any way, shape, or form, but typically speaking, I am kind of a delight to be around. Usually really fun, and I am definitely the person who, whether you really want it or not, especially in my family, my siblings can attest to this, I'm going to call you out on your own BS. Straight up. I am not the kind of person who's going to sweep things under the rug and who's just kind of going to shrug it off and hope that it disappears. I am absolutely going to have an honest conversation with you. It's probably going to be uncomfortable, but I'm going to have the honest conversation with you because I want to have the opportunity to air grievances. Because I believe that if you don't air grievances, then it just festers. It just festers. And last week I did talk to you a little bit about this bless and release exercise. And I love that exercise so much. Love it so much, so much. Sometimes there's an extra layer that we have to do to that. So I shared a little bit of this video on TikTok, and they said, okay, so I wrote the letters, I did the bless and release. What do I do with the second letter where it's all the great stuff? And I said, you pay attention to that letter. You reread it, you check it off again, you reread it, you keep it, you reread it, you keep it, you reread it once a week, once a day, whatever it is, depending on the situation. How do you actually create that relationship? But there's another step to this that I didn't fully pay attention to. So there is I'm going to write all the crappy stuff in this first release letter. Then I'm going to write all this really great stuff in the second letter. But then there's kind of this third part to that where it's, okay, how do I show up now in this relationship? So we can look at this and go, okay, how do we want this person to change? Well, we hate all of these things. We want all of these things. But then there's us. There is the us factor, the me, the I, myself, and me. There is that third kind of layer that says, okay, if I want this person to show up this way, then how do I have to show up? And that is really the game changer. Because yes, it's great to sit there and think, okay, great, I'm going to focus on all of this stuff that I really want that person to show up as, but I'm not going to change. And that's not going to work. And so in this third layer, you have to think about how you should show up in that situation. How will you act in order to, not necessarily massage, but in order to help that relationship grow in that fashion? So yes, I could write all of these things about how much money irritates me. I'm going to use money as an example because it seems to be one that's pretty regular for most of us, right? So my money relationship was really, really crappy a few years ago. And so I would write these bless and release letters with money. And I would write them a lot. And I felt like it wasn't actually changing a whole bunch of stuff. It felt good in the moment because I was like, yeah, I got it all out, right? And then I wrote that second part and I was like, oh yeah, these are all the things that I'm going to focus on. And unconsciously, I would start to change how I was responding and how I was acting and how I was being. But it didn't dawn on me until last night while I was laying in bed that this is the icing on the cake. This is the thing that actually activates somebody to change into that person, or that relationship changes in order for us to receive these blessings that we want, right, out of that relationship. How am I showing up? Am I showing up in a way that cultivates, that's the word I wanted, that cultivates this greatness from this other person or from the money? So yes, I want money to show up regularly. I want it to be there in my bank account, all of the things, right? But am I showing up in a way that's actually going to cultivate money to show up and be excited to be with me? And if you get honest with yourself, you might not be. And so there's a third part to this bless and release. Release. Bless all the releasings. Write that blessing letter, right? And then look at yourself. Who do you need to be? Hello, how are you? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, because I really needed that today. Because I was having a very much, oh my God, my face needs a facial kind of a day. So thank you for your kind words. I so appreciate that. So this third part of this is, are you showing up in a way that cultivates the greatness from that person? Are you showing up that way? Because if you're not showing up that way, then that person is never going to level up. That relationship is never going to change if you're waiting for them to do all of the changing. So I didn't fully know that this was going to come through today. I trusted that this was going to show up in a beautiful way. And that is kind of the third step to this bless and release process. If you watched the video last week, you know what I'm talking about. It's trying to keep your sanity over the holidays. People are making it crazy. Absolutely, I get it, okay? There are going to be a lot of things that make you nuts that we feel like we don't have a lot of control over. And I love to do the bless and release to just kind of get it out. But then that third part is to say, okay, how am I showing up in this situation? How am I showing up in this relationship? And am I showing up in such a way that it's actually going to cultivate the growth in this relationship? Or am I sitting back waiting for somebody to do all the changing? Because you're going to sit back and you're going to be disappointed for a long time. You're going to get annoyed. And you're probably going to have to do a lot of those bless and release letters. Right? Like what I did at the very beginning when I was blessing and releasing my relationship with money. For a long time, I was really annoyed about how that relationship was not changing. It wasn't growing, wasn't expanding in any way that I wanted it to. But when I began to look at how I was showing up in that relationship, it caused the other half of that relationship to change. Because I showed up how I was changing and the things that I was standing for and the things that I was tolerating and the boundaries that I had caused that relationship to change. So that's the third part of that. Bless, release, absolutely. I love that exercise. It's really, really great. But then look at how you're showing up. Are you showing up in a way that gives somebody the space to show up the way that you want them to? Are you actually giving them the space to do it? Are you encouraging them to rise up to the next level? Because if you're not, they're never going to have the opportunity to show up the way that you want them to. So, I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for showing up for this little short video. And I will be here regularly. I think I might be changing my days to Wednesday. I just kind of like the middle of the week for some reason right now. But I'll keep you posted. Anyways, I hope that you have an incredible rest of your day. And as always, be big, be bold, and be opulent. Thank you so much for joining me. If you watch the replay, please #replay, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.